Hello people, it's Dodi, and it's time to give our baby some hair now, after all this time. First, I'm going to show you what to do, how to pretend to have an airbrush. The first thing I'm going to do, pardon me, is dampen. I'm having a time here, people. Dampen that little head slightly with your mineral oil. What that's going to do, especially if you've been putting off painting like I have, is going to soften the paint where you can put curls on. Do be careful about where it drips, because it will if you don't watch it. And you'll ruin the work you just finished. Now everybody knows that a baby's head is where the darkest is going to be. So what I'm going to do is use an acrylic brush, not a soft brush, because what we're going to do is let the paint go where it will. And that hard brush in oils will give you a more natural finish. You need to be prepared with your paint to work quickly, because with a combination of thin paint and the mineral oil, you'll get something that dries almost as quickly as a acrylic will. In fact, it'll probably dry a little quicker. Since you've already been working with it and you know where her curls are, you can start to blend in the different colors. Because I'm going to take, now I'm going to start using the lighter brown. I do have a lighter brown. And start blending still with this same brush. And the effect is going to be, as you can see, oh dear, let's get you up here a little bit closer. Is that it's mottled, meaning that it's not all the same color. Now you don't want it solid. The reason you don't want it solid is because it won't look natural. You see, everyone's seen the babies that look like somebody just dipped them in a paint pot. The trick is to have two colors, blend them together, and don't use all of one color exclusively. Take the two and interchange them. Yes, even on the same brush. And you can see with the hard brush that I've got, it scratches the old surface. Making it look harder, making it look like hair. And where you don't have much definition, spread it thin. Because the more texture you can add to the baby's hair, the more realistic it'll look. Don't be concerned about covering the whole scalp, since we are not dealing with a full head of hair for a child, because these are babies. You don't need a solid color. All over the scalp. And don't worry about contaminating color, or must have all one color and not another. Nah, doesn't work that way. Because your hair is not all one color. As some of us who are 3 years older than dirt know. Guarantee it ain't all one color. But the direction of your brush strokes will give you more definition. Without having to worry about, oh my goodness, coverage. Because if you look at a baby, they don't have a whole heck of a lot of hair. Now this is especially effective if you don't have an airbrush, because you can always smooth it out with your brush and a little mineral oil as you go. Alright, now that pretty much gets her. Always make sure to check where you've been and where you think you're going, because I'm not done yet. One other thing I'd like to show you, excuse me, reachy. We can take it back out again. This is called a fan brush. Now what is nice about a fan brush is it picks up and spreads leaving little strokes like a baby would have. Those little wispies that are so adorable on children. And for those of you that want baby hairs, this is a great way to do it. The fan brush. So, the next thing we want to do is let it dry, and you can see she's not been covered a whole lot. There's a reason for that, because I've got to come back in and put in the white and yellow highlights. So we'll let her sit for a few minutes and come back. So now we add in the last colors we're going to use. The white for accent. And it's all a matter of placement. It just depends on where you want to go with it. But you can see with the fan brush, you can get delicate little strokes, it looks like you've spent hours with a detail brush, and all you did was use a different kind of brush. Now, one thing you want to really watch is the tendency to overbrush this stuff. And it's real easy to do. Hey, if a little is good, more is better. Well, not necessarily. Like, for instance, you really want to stay with that crown dark. And the temptation is there to just put the white all over. Hey, it's going to be good. But it doesn't quite work that way. And my biggest highlight is the yellow, which you can drag through nicely. And when it's still damp, those colors will blend somewhat. And after it dries, you'll see that your work is much more dimensional, and you don't have that distressing, oh my God, it's one color look that so many have problems with because they didn't know these little techniques. One color is not what you're after because your hair is not one color. You can say it is, but it's not. Just like right here in the hairline, you can see all the brown, the white, in that little baby neck. if you really want to emphasize something, by all means, go for it. And wipe as you go. Alright, one last thing before we go. Blushing when you don't have an airbrush. All I did was take some of my refined linseed oil and thinned it down to where it was watery. And then just wiped it on. And kept wiping it off. And spreading it out. Pretty much just like you do makeup. And yes, while it's still damp, you can correct what you don't like by shortening it down with mineral oil. Just be sure that you don't take too much off, like I just did there. And that's what painting's all about. Doing it until it makes you comfortable with what you've done. Hey! Sorry about that. Dog's raising Cain over nothing. And you can get lost in this a lot. Happy. After all, it's your doll. And there we go, people. There's our baby. And she's a big difference than what she used to be. Well, that's all I have for you today, folks. So remember to do all the stuffs. And we will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.